Hey guys, welcome back to the farm on this beautiful spring day. Spring on the farm means a lot of things. Baby chicks, getting the gardens ready, getting seeds started indoors. We got calves hitting the ground. My second most favorite thing next to calving season is working in the orchard. So what are we doing in the orchard this time of year? Well, as you can see, we've already gone through in January and we've pruned everything back pretty much to how we want it. It's not perfect. I still find myself second guessing and finding little things that I don't like and cutting them off, but I pretty much get the general shape that I want. So with our trees here in our orchard, our apple trees specifically, we do what's called a central leader system. So we have that central main trunk with scaffolds of 2 to 3 branches about every 18 to 24 inches starting from the ground. And those branches are alternating. So they're kind of, the first set of branches is like this, the second set of branches up higher is gonna be like this, and so on and so forth. So that way they're not covering and shading each other. So as you can see here, we have about 18 to 24 inches, we have a set of scaffolds. A little bit, another 18 to 24, we have another set of scaffolds here. 18 to 24, another set of scaffolds, but this one has a few extras on it, and I'll explain why those are there. And then we go to our last set of scaffolds, and we top to the tree so that main central leader doesn't want to continue to grow, and then we went and tied these down horizontally off of here to mimic the shape and how we want the tree. Now the reason we top that and the reason we keep them this short is because we want it that way. We want it to be easy to access fruit. We don't want to be having to get up on ladders, and we just like the look of them. So they are a semi-dwarf tree, but you can take them as high as you want or as low as you want. There's not really a correct way to do it. It's just how you want to do it. So the way and the reason we tie these down is, as you can see, these come out at a nice horizontal pattern all the way around the tree, and they're offset from the other branches all the way down. Now these two are a little overlapping here, and so are these here, but that's because of the step that we use to tie them down, and we're eventually going to take these off. So when you look at your tree, when it's growing, your branches are going to kind of grow up and out like this. And we just went this time last year and went around after pruning, during pruning, and decided which ones we wanted to leave for scaffolds. And then we left those. Then we waited till it started getting a little more spring, until the juices started flowing. Then it makes these whips just a little more flexible and allows us to bend them down how we want to that horizontal position. So these would have started out like this. We then use like this soft tie wire that you can get, we got at Coastal, or get at your local hardware store or farm store. And then we take this and cut pieces out of it with a set of wire cutters here. And then we use these to wrap around the branches and twist. So this will be pulling down like this, so that the wire that we're gonna use, or the string that we use to pull those down, does not cut into the tree and cut into that cambium layer and restrict the flow. So all we did was pull these down, we put this on, and we wrapped it around, we hooked our wire to that, and then we pulled this down and attached it to this branch here below. And that's why we left this branch. Then we left that all year long. During the summer, when we were getting fruit on it and stuff, we'd watch it to make sure it doesn't get too heavy with fruit and bow down. Typically what we'll do is on that first year, we'll come and we'll pick off most all of the fruit on that branch so that it'll give it a nice horizontal growth just like this and get really stiffened up in the fall. Then we went around that fall, and when all the leaves and everything fell off, and we unhooked the wires and saw, is this stiff or does this still need to be held down a little bit? And this one was perfect. All three of these were nice and stiff, they had good growth, and they're ready for this year. So the reason too we do this is the key to getting good fruit growth on your trees is air and light. And by alternating the branches like this, you're gonna get air and light into each one of these without the other branches blocking it. So I'm gonna take you over here to another tree, and we're gonna show you how we're tying down branches and tying up some. So come along with me. All right, so we have this tree here that we've started to work on. As you can see, we've gone ahead and pruned this one as well. We have our scaffolding set up. This is a new scaffolding you can see here. This is a brand new baby one, and this one we haven't had to tie down. This one's growing horizontal like we want it to. But if you look up here at the top where we've topped this off and we want our last scaffolding, these ones are growing upward, kind of like how they will naturally. So we're gonna wanna pull these down, and this one's gonna wanna get pulled over just a little bit so it doesn't cover this branch, and then that'll be set how we want it. It'll be out horizontal and allow us to grow fruit here how we want it and not block anything. So this one we've actually started, we had prepped. I like to use wire, like I said before, on these. This makes it nice for me to kind of go along and regulate and shorten or lengthen it during the season, depending on how it's growing. So we have the rubber tie here. We're gonna use our finger and kind of pull down on this gently and find kind of where the best tie point is. If you go so far where it starts to bend back up and bow back up, you've gone too far. So then just step back a little bit and you'll find that nice sweet spot where it pulls down straight and then the rest goes out straight as well. So we're gonna tie onto here. We're pulling a little tension from this one down here below that was sagging down a little bit. It's not hurting it by pulling it up at all. It's gonna actually make it a little more horizontal like we wanted it. And then we're just gonna take this and twist this on. Just like that. And this one I need to make sure you twist pretty good because there is a little bit of tension pulled on it and it'll maybe wanna untie. But there you go. You can see that one is horizontal like we want. I'm actually, like I said, pruning with me is never done. I always see things that I want to change, especially when we're shaping them. And this one right here is going up and it's crossing over there. So I don't want that one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off. And that branch is ready how I want it. So then we have this branch here. So this one, once again, we're gonna pull it down just like this to go out. I didn't really have a branch here below that I could tie onto. This is just a little too flimsy. So I went ahead and connected it to underneath a branch around the trunk and just had an extra long piece of wire here. So once again, we're gonna find that nice sweet spot where it's not curving too much back, not shoving that down, which seems to be right about here. Actually, right about here. We're gonna tie this and twist it on. And then there is that branch there. So like I said before, what we're gonna do this season is these are pretty substantial. They might be fine, but we're still probably gonna pull most of the fruit, any of the fruit that comes out on the end off of that, so it doesn't bow it down too much. Now, if this one was one we're gonna make sure and pull any fruit that might develop on this. I don't see any fruiting wood on this, but anything that would develop on that, we'd pull that off this year, so as not to make this curve down too much. So yeah, that's set up how we want. But there is one branch here that I want to show the other way that's maybe sagging too much that we want to pull up. So Matthias, you want to come around over here? Let's show them this. So as you can see here, we have a branch that is sagging down too low. For some reason, when it grew out, something broke off here and the branch took a turn downwards and it's growing down to the ground. It's not necessarily bad, but when you get fruit on it and different things, it's going to be sagging clear down here. And also, as you can see, it's kind of underneath this other branch. But we can fix both of these things. We can pull it over and up just a little bit and straighten it out more how we want it and make that a really nice branch. But there's only one issue. We don't really have another branch to tie onto. We can't really tie onto this. It's a little flimsy, and we can't tie onto this one because it's way too small. So what I'm gonna end up doing is getting a post and sticking here on this side so that I can pull it over and up. I don't want it to pull right against the post because I don't want it to rub, but we'll pull that over and up, and then that one will be ready for this next year as well. So yeah, this is kind of what we enjoy doing. This is how we form our fruit trees, and you can do the same. I just encourage you to get out, watch a lot of other videos from other people. I really enjoy the Back to Eden and Charles Dowding as well. Back to Eden does a lot more with fruit trees, and he says the same things. You cannot make mistakes. Don't be afraid to cut off big branches if you don't like it, because something will always grow back. And you know what? It always does, and it works out. But just find the shape that you want to do, shape your trees, and just have fun doing it. So we're going to check back in later in the season when we go through and we start culling the apples. Here on the farm, we are all about quality over quantity. And so sometimes that means sacrificing some apples for the betterment of the other apples and the tree. And so we do that. Some people say, man, why are you pulling all those apples off? Well, you know what? Do I want 20 apples this big, or do I want 10 apples this big? And it really does make a difference. So thanks for joining us today on the farm again. We'll see you guys next time.